Hello everyone, it is me, Carly, and this is Zoo to You Virtual Safari. It's Thursday, it's 1 p.m., so we're really happy to be able to bring you yet another virtual safari. This time we are with an animal we actually haven't featured in any of the virtual safaris since we started in March. So this is really exciting, and we have a fun little announcement to go with it too. So I'll get to that in a second with our keeper, Christina, but I also want to remind everyone, yesterday we talked all about our African lion cubs. I told you there'd be information on how you can vote for their names coming shortly, and it is live on our website. If you go to denverzoo.org, you can help us choose our lion cubs names. There are 3 names for each cub, so no, we're not taking submissions, we're not taking suggestions. Some of your ideas are really cute, but we left this up to our keepers who gave us some really fun Colorado themed names. So the girls' names you can choose from are Poppy, our state flower, Esther, or Arali, which means strength of thunder, or you can choose Lincoln, Oscar, or Stout for our boy. So donate to vote for those names on denverzoo.org. But they're not the only babies we have, so let's get right to it. We'll talk all about our bongos here in our central ranges. I do want to say hi to Josiah and Zachariah, hi to Shar, Joyce, Mark, Daphne. Thank you all for watching. We're really happy to have you here. So let's get started. Hi, Christina.
Hi.
So we are featuring bongos today, which,
Yes.
like you heard me say, we haven't featured since we started these virtual safaris.
That's right.
So
And
really fun day.
so before we get too far though, I don't know if you can zoom in on the back end of our male Howard. And if you can see that little ear flicking back there,
Oh.
that is our newest addition, Fennel. Hopefully he'll get up here in a minute and she'll get up so you can get a better look at her. I just thought it was really cute because she was sitting back there and all
She
you could see was her little ear.
Yeah, so we have a baby. When was Fennel born?
She was born a couple weeks ago. I believe she will actually be 2 weeks old this coming Saturday. She was born to Mom Fern, who actually is over here right now. And this is her aunt Columbine and her cousin Calvin, who was born last year.
Oh, Calvin.
And then she's got her dad Howard, who is in protective mode right now.
Yeah, she kind of ran up earlier. It was really cute, but now she's a little shy. But hopefully when she sees Mom and aunt and cousin over here, maybe she'll come up to us. Zachariah wants to know, are bongos endangered?
They are. In fact, these are mountain bongo, which are critically endangered. There's only about 150 of these guys left in the wild in an area of Africa on Mount Kenya. And that population of 150 is actually kind of an uptick from the 90s. There was much fewer of them back then, and North American zoos actually did reintroductions of them back in the 90s. So a lot of that population up there now is related to animals that we have here in North American zoos.
Very cool. So zoos, once again, playing a large part in conservation. We're so proud to be a part of that. So bongos look very similar to another animal we have here that we have featured, which are the lesser kudus.
Yes.
Talk about some of the differences between these two species.
So one of the big things that you can see is their size and their color. They both obviously have the striping, but bongo are a forest species. In fact, they're the largest forest antelope in the world, where kudu are more of a brush savanna species. So these guys, a lot of times if it rains or something, we'll get like a red pigment that comes off their fur and stuff from the oil, and that's just a natural thing they have because they're forest animals, rainforest animals.
Randy wants to know, are those horns or antlers on their head?
That is a great question. These are horns. So anything that is considered an antelope or like a cattle species or something like that, they are going to have horns. And the things that have your antlers are your deer species. So things like white-tailed deer, moose, elk, all of those guys have antlers.
Very good question, Randy. I learned something new from that. Lori wants to know, what is a bongo's lifespan?
So bongo live quite a long time in captivity. relatively speaking, they can live anywhere between 15 to 20 years.
15 to 20 years. So what are the ages of our bongo herd? We know Fennel is about 2 weeks.
Yes.
And then next youngest would be Calvin, right? Right
Correct.
here?
Yep. So Calvin will be a year later this year. And then the next youngest is actually Fern. And then Columbine. And then, oh, Fennel's up. And then Howard.
So I'm going to try to zoom in, pardon my steady hands and the shadow.
Yes, because we just want to see the baby.
But there's Fennel.
Howard, Calvin's like, what about me? I'm still cute.
Can you all see Fennel?
Come on, little girl. So we named Fennel. Actually, we like to create reasons behind our names. So if you remember, Calvin is Columbine's kid, so hence the C. And so Fern, we need an F name. So the Hoofstock Keepers came up with 3 names that we loved a lot. Fennel, Faye, and Flora. And then we put it to a vote to our entire Denver Zoo staff to see which one they like the best, and they chose Fennel.
Fennel's pretty cute, and we have some guests who can actually see her, so double win today.
Yeah.
Josiah wants to know, do they make any noises?
They make sort of like cow noises would probably be my best description. They make little moos and little like sucking noises and stuff like that. But she just made that noise.
A little chuffing.
Yeah.
Zachariah also wants to know, are they dangerous to humans? We're obviously separated from them right now. We have
Correct.
Protected contact.
They are dangerous, much like any other large hoofstock animal can be dangerous to a person. I don't know that these guys would particularly go after a person unless they felt threatened or like they were protecting a baby or something like that. They're pretty low key, but we still remain a barrier between us just because they are larger animals. They do have horns. If they get spooked because they're flightier animals, they could accidentally injure us without realizing that they're injuring us, I guess.
Yeah. Luke wants to know what they use their horns for.
So for males, a lot of it is showing off, showing how handsome they are. They like to put mud on their horns. And they also, because they're forest animals, you guys, nobody cares about you. They want to see the baby. in the camera picture. But in the wild, a lot of times, like even the females you notice have horns, and they'll use those to keep predators away from their babies and to be able to go through brush and stuff like that.
So a little bit practical, a little bit protective.
Correct.
And so Fennel kind of, shakily ran away there.
And as you can see, she loves her daddy.
Oh.
Bongo are one of the species that the males really glom onto the babies. So the older she gets, the more you'll see she'll hang out with dad more than mom. She'll come over to mom, get a snack, and go back to dad.
Oh.
And dad's totally cool with it. He's our 3rd bongo male that I've worked with here at Denver, and they've all been like that. They just love the babies, protect the babies. When they get a little older, like Calvin's age, and they're starting to want to spar, they'll stand there and let them push on him, and he just stands there and kind of lets them do their thing. So
how cute for Father's Day. Here comes Howard. Let's see if Fennel will kind of follow Dad and gallop out here again. You can see the little white of the insides of her legs there. Oh, here she comes. Oh.
Crash. You could probably go over there.
Yeah, let's see if we can. Hi. So this is Fennel, everyone. This is our almost 2-week-old Bongo Calf. Oh my gosh. I'm glad you all are getting a really good look at her. Is it true? Did she have that little wobbly stage when she's first born?
She definitely does. So these guys are up and walking and within an hour, nursing within the day, obviously moving around, but that doesn't mean they're great on their feet yet. That just means they're up on their feet. So yeah, you can definitely tell by the way she walks. She still kind of has a little wobbly, knobbly kind of bit to her. She's got that little sassy tail going.
Yeah, she's pretty brave. She's totally ignoring all the parents and the elders to go do her own thing. So here's Howard. He is quite majestic.
So male bongo can get up between 800 and 900 pounds. And as you notice, he is very dark in the front. Like if you look at the girls, they're all pretty uniform other than their white markings and black markings, but their red is pretty uniform in color. And him, he's very dark in the front, and they get that when they become sexually mature. So when he came to us, he was actually living with a bunch of other males, and he had more of the red color. And then once he got here and kind of, you know, had his girls and kind of had his own herd going, we actually saw him change from that light color to this darker color in the front.
That is so interesting. Kelsey wants to know, how old is Calvin?
Kelsey would ask me that. He will be a year later this year.
So sometime this year he will be a year old. And yeah, so this part of the zoo is blocked off to foot traffic right now, but if you come out of Toyota Elephant Passage and you just come a little bit back towards Central Ranges, you can peep them, the whole Bongo family, right from there. Joyce wants to know, how long are moms pregnant?
They're pregnant for about 9 months.
About 9 months, just like humans.
Yes.
Lydia wants to know, where do they live in the wild?
They live on Mount Kenya, which is in Africa, and it's actually the only place in the world where you can find these mountain bongo. There's also a lowland bongo that's more further south, but these guys are just on Mount Kenya.
Very cool. Daphne wants to know how long the babies will stay with parents.
As long as Dad will allow it. So, like Calvin, he's going on a year old, like I said, later this summer. And as long as Howie allows him to stay here and it doesn't become a herd dynamic issue, he can stay here. We have had to separate the males at some point just because of breeding issues and stuff, but Howie's a really good boy and he's been really good with Calvin, so we're hoping we're able to keep them together for a little while before he has to go to another institution.
Yeah. And what do you think their strongest sense is? Someone asked that earlier.
I would have to say, that's a tough one. I would have to say their strongest sense is probably their hearing. You can see they got those big old ears. They hear a lot of things. They have really good sight as well, but just from a historical standpoint, since they're a forest animal and maybe in the wild they wouldn't be able to see as far, I don't know that their seeing is as good. But they definitely have really good hearing, really good smell.
What are they eating?
Today it is cucumber.
Refreshing.
They get a lot of things from our nutrition center. They do a really great job of giving them a varied produce diet, along with we get grain and hay for them. But they get squash, they get cucumber, tomatoes, celery. He says, give me scratches. I can't scratch you through the fence. The holes are too small. And I don't know if you can see how dark his tongue is?
Yeah.
Hey, come here. Now you're not going to do it, are you? Here. Hey, here. Oh, there we go.
There we go.
See how
dark gray tongue, yeah.
So that is, you will see that in Garanuk, which is another antelope species we have. You'll see it in giraffe and okapi. They have that darker tongue. And that is because they're what we call, they like to eat leaves. They're folivores, so they will eat leaves and stuff, and so their tongue is dark because they use their tongue like that to pull food into their mouth. So if their tongue was pink, it would get sunburned, but so it's dark so that it doesn't get sunburned. So
Very
a lot of your animals that
interesting.
eat off of trees like that and use their tongue to bring food into their mouth as opposed to eating grass like a horse or something will have a darker tongue.
So are they more browsers or grazers?
Browsers.
Browsers. And people who've been watching know we talk a lot about the difference between browsers and grazers. Lori wants to know what their weights are. We know Fennel is only about 30 pounds.
Yeah. So I haven't gotten a weight on these guys recently. This guy here, the little Calvin's probably about 150. But I'm not quite sure of the girls since they've just gone through pregnancies and stuff, so they weight gain, weight loss.
Yes, we don't ask the pregnant one
Yeah.
what their weight is.
But Howie's probably right up there around 750, 800.
750, 800. He does not look like he would weigh that much.
No, he doesn't. It's condensed.
Yeah.
His muscle. That's all the food I got, buddy. Sorry.
I know, they're kind of like, oh man, this was not what we signed up for. Keep those questions coming. We'll do sort of our last call. Fennel is...
Oh, she's way over there in the shade, doing her own thing.
She is such a little independent gal. She's over there in the shade. I'm going to try to zoom. Just enjoying some shade and some space away from the whole family. So really wants to know. Hi Joyce, the average weight at birth, we were just talking about this before the live, is high 30s? Like
yeah.
Almost 40 pounds?
Yeah, so for a female bongo, you're probably going to have high 30s, 40s. She was a little on the lighter end, but she was completely healthy. Everything was great. She's just a little petite for her. And actually, we haven't weighed her in the lap since, you know, that first neonatal when she was born. So I'm sure she's put on a ton of weight now that she's been drinking lots of mom's good milk.
Oh, sure. Lisa wants to know, are the horns hollow or solid?
They are solid, sort of. So, so when you talk about a horn, you're going to let me... So, like, probably the first 2/3 of the horn underneath it has a blood content to it, so there's blood flowing in and out of the inside of that horn. And then when you get to the very tip top, it'll be a little hollower,
where it's starting to be lighter.
Yes. So and that's like that with all species that have horns. They have blood flow to a certain point, and then the tips of them do not have any blood flow, so they're hollow at that point.
Very cool. Hi Josiah, he wants to know if they like to stay in the shade or the sun.
They love the shade, which is why it's sometimes hard for people to see them, because even if our whole front of our exhibit is open, they like to hang out towards the back or on this other side where there's some shade. But today is actually a really great day. It's I'm gonna say it's cold. It's not
very mild.
Cold. It's mild. Thank you. And so they've actually been up a lot today, moving around. They don't mind the sun, but they definitely prefer cooler temperatures.
Yeah.
And like they're really active in the morning and at night.
Just like a lot of our animals. So always try to come early when they first get out and have that access to the yard and get their first feeding. Jason says hello from the Hornbills.
Hornbills.
What's your favorite part about a bongo?
My favorite part, I really think my favorite part about them after working with them for this many years is just their personality. They just have the best personality out of a lot of the different hoof stock that we have around here. I mean, every animal is different and every animal is an individual, but these guys in general, especially the males, are just fairly low-key. Once they catch on to training and treats, they like that interaction. Like these guys you saw earlier, I mean, we just came out the door and we're standing out here. We hadn't even started interacting with them, and a couple of the girls already got up and were like, oh, we're doing something, you got food for us. So just that personality of wanting to interact with us and wanting to see what we're doing, and just that calming attitude that they seem to have compared to some of the other flightier hoof stock.
Yeah, last couple questions. Emily wants to know, how do you tell them apart?
So, we'll start with Howie. He's the most obvious one. He's the biggest one. He's darkest. He's got the biggest horns out of everybody. Then, of course, Fennel. She's going to be pretty obvious because she's an itty-bitty one.
Yeah.
Calvin is the next one that you can kind of tick off your list as being obvious because he's kind of in that teenage stage. He's not an adult. He's not a kid. He's got his horns coming in. I would say the two hardest for you guys to tell apart when you come here is going to be our two ladies.
Yes, Fern and Columbine.
Fern and Columbine. And some of that is because they are full siblings. They're sisters. So not only do they look a lot alike because they're bongo, but they look a lot alike because they're related. So the biggest thing is, one of the biggest things is one on the front of the face. This one is Fern. You can see, especially from a distance, she's got a pretty solid black space on her nose. She doesn't have a scrape or anything like that. And then on the side of her face, that white line is, from up close, you can see that it's split, but from a distance, it just looks like one solid white line.
Okay.
Columbine, She is obviously her sister, but in the front, of course, she's not going to turn around. She's just going to give us her butt. But the front of her face where it's black, she's kind of got a scar where she's bumped herself before. And then on the side of her face, she's got two very prominent white dots.
Oh yeah, you can see those.
So that's going to be the big thing, is those white dots and that front face mark on her.
I wonder if I can zoom. She's in shadow. But can you all see those like white dots on her face?
So like you see here, Fern, her white dots kind of all blend and mesh together. It looks like one big dot, and then Columbine has two very definitive white dots.
Two very distinct dots. And then someone asked why they have white stripes.
A lot of that has to do with shadowing. Like I said earlier, they live in the rainforests and the dark and light shadows, so that's one reason why they have the red coat. And then also the white stripes helps with their hiding in bushes and lighting and stuff, because you have that light and dark shadowies when you're dealing with bushes and trees and stuff like that.
Very cool. Well, I think that is all we've got for today. Thanks for the amazing questions, everyone. Reminder, if you want to help, we've already named Fennel, so you can't help name her, but if you want to help name our lion cubs, you definitely can. Just go to our website. We have a voting donation going on there for the lion cubs, just like we did for Juna. We want to raise so much money, so help us do that. You have 3 awesome names to choose from for each, the boy and the girl, so get your vote on. But we also hope you can come see Fennel the next time you're here. And I think this is a great question. Tyra wants to know, are the babies born with the stripes?
They are. So the babies are born just like how she looks right now, with the stripes and all the things. They don't change color or anything like that. The one thing us as keepers do always joke about is they're also born with those big ears. Their ears obviously do grow as they get older, but we always joke that they're born with the ear size that they're going to have for the rest of their life, because they're huge on those little heads.
Oh my gosh, Fennel cannot be bothered right now.
I know, she's just doing her own thing, isn't she?
Lydia wants to know, what are their predators? I think that's a good question too.
So basically, any of the big cats or hyenas, anything like that that you might find in Africa, there's nothing really specific. Being a hoofstock animal, it's pretty much the normal: lions, leopards, hyena, that sort of thing.
All right, everyone. Jordan says bongos rule, lions drool. There might be a little bit of competitiveness between the animal teams.
That's right.
But we don't rank them. We love all of our babies, especially Fennel, who is so adorable and precious and really just kind of, you know, on her own, doing her own thing.
I mean, I agree.
My type of gal.
I agree with Jordan. I mean, that face is way cuter than those lion cub faces. I'm just saying. Look how independent she is. She is her own woman.
She really is her own woman. All right. Thank you so much, Tyra and Josiah and Zachariah. It's so fun to get to chat virtually with you guys every day. Thank you to Christina for answering all your amazing questions. Thanks for tuning in and supporting Denver Zoo every day. We appreciate it. We'll see you later.